Well, this is an awkward, I guess, image to start the video with. So first, let me explain that. First off, to everybody who wished me a good vacation at my convention, I have returned home. It is Monday night. We had a great time at the convention. A lot of friends there, a lot of group meetings, a lot of laughs. But you might notice my voice sounds a little different. My face is covered. And that is because a couple of my friends in our group, including myself, got Con Crud at level 19. Unfortunately, this is something that is to be expected at such a big gathering such as a convention. Unfortunately, it is a part of our lives that we have to live with every day now. And it is unfortunate that about 6 members of our group did end up getting it. So if you're wondering why I am currently wearing a mask, it is because I am self-quarantining for the safety of myself and those around me. I'm kind of just going to be in my studio room doing a bunch of work. I have some extra time off of work now because of this to recover before I get back in work. But I didn't want to short you guys out on the content. So for the next few videos and streams, I hope you guys will understand, but I will most likely be wearing a mask depending on how I'm feeling as the Con Crud level 19 kind of wears down in my system. I don't want to take away the Ninjala anime episode because we're going to do that today. And the other thing I want to mention is that I have watched this episode once already, but I did watch the JP version with no subtitles. So, I don't actually know what they're saying, but I really think this episode is cute. So, while this isn't going to be a genuine, like, blind reaction to the episode, it's still a really good episode, and I have, like, thoughts and opinions. So, without further ado, guys, let's get into it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and all the core gamers out there. CAJ Man, 777 here, still self-quarantining, by the way. Compared to what I had probably 3 days ago, like the last day of the con, today, like 3 days later, I feel so much better. Everything is like, I just have like a slight cough now, which is really nice, so it should be going away. But I still have the whole week off, because, you know, I have to quarantine, so work does that. But that means I get to make a bunch of content for you guys, and today we're going to be talking about Ninjala Anime Episode 24. So if you guys, of course, are liking the content here on the channel, do me a favor and hit that like button, as well as hitting that subscribe button as I straighten my mask out, because it never stays straight on my face. It always leans in a different direction. But we're going to be talking about Ninjala Anime Episode 24, and like I said, this episode was kind of all over the place, but it was really cool. Bits and pieces of it were nice, bits and pieces of it were very informative, and bits and pieces of it were setting up things that we're going to be seeing in the next few episodes. So, let's get right into it, and the episode begins with, of course, Director Allen's congratulations of the WNA for, you know, completing their task and defeating the Space Ninja. I'm really interested in the beginning of this, because when I watched it, I wish I understood what Alan here was saying. Oh, there's a lot. That's all WNA staff. I didn't notice that before. Alan knows exactly, you know, what he did. It was his plan, he says. He's taking all the credit. It was his plan that lured them to the goddess statue that proved effective. And obviously we get Burton on a close-up here. And obviously knowing that they kind of dealt with the main force of the Space Ninja, which is why they kind of retreated anyway. But Alan only sees, like, his own flaw. He's kind of already, like, we already knew Alan was kind of stuck up, but we knew he was more stuck up than what he actually was to begin with right at the beat. You know, as we've seen him through episode and episode. But he's congratulating the WNA because they all performed admirably. And while the Space Ninja, of course, were drawn out by the Ninja Gun, they have successfully, you know, backed the Space Ninja away for now. You know, a very interesting way to start out the episode, having Alan take most of the credit for, I mean, granted, it was his plan, but he doesn't know the full extent of what ended up happening in the last episode. So, either way, it's a great way to start off the episode, kind of showing Alan's motivations that, okay, one problem's done, now I can do what I want. What I really like about this scene, though, is as Alan is giving the speech, you see Burton up at the top, kind of like in the lobby of the WNA, but you see Ron down below, and Ron knows that now that this plan is gone, or not that the Space Ninja are eliminated, you notice that Ron just kind of, like, crushes a can that he's holding, crushing a drink that he's holding. Ron's angry about something, and what he's angry about is, obviously, he's angry at the fact that Alan has betrayed him, and now he knows that because the Space Ninja are dealt with, their next objective is going to be to deal with him. And now, Burton doesn't realize this at first, although, granted, they're kind of dealing with a very similar problem in both veins. But Burton, believe it or not, they have not been explained why the Oniwambashi are actually after Burton. Burton actually is going to learn that in this episode later, and that's kind of an important note because, well, the Oniwambashi has been after Ron and Baraka, and then Burton doesn't realize why the Oniwambashi were going after Ron and Baraka, and it's because Alan's actually giving the orders, and Burton doesn't know that it's actually Alan giving the orders. In Burton's eyes, Alan was the one who helped him, study and research this new power of the ninja gum. So to see Burton finally realize that he's been backstabbed, much like Ron has, it's a very interesting thought. But what I like about this episode too is that we're kind of doing what I thought we were going to do for like the season 2 styled episodes of the Ninjala anime. We're jumping from character to character, from place to place. We're jumping back to Odeo, where Baraka, Jane, and Kappa are. We're jumping back to Ron and Burton and dealing with the Space Ninja and the Oniwambashi and stuff like that. And then we're dealing with a bunch of our other main characters. They're just having fun because apparently there's a carnival in town. Of course they did. Get Ron's mind off of whatever he's thinking of. Considering he doesn't talk much, he's very quiet. Vanny's so happy coming into that scene. These are really well drawn. I like the stills. And I love that Lucy's watching too. You feel like the WNA has kind of stepped out of the shadows a little bit in this, and they're throwing on this party for them, or it's just a generalized carnival in Eagle City that was kind of planned. But it seems like, the world kind of got a glimpse of exactly what the WNA could do and how powerful they actually are. So maybe in their honor, they're throwing this carnival. It's not actually explained why the carnival gets thrown, but it's really nice to see all the characters kind of get some chance to relax, and they get some chance to vibe here. Van, Lucy, and Emma are kind of doing their own thing. They're having a lot of fun with it. They have some really cute side scenes. Lucy is absolutely adorable in this episode, an absolute card as well. Nice to see Lucy supporting Emma throughout most of the points in this episode as well. And, Burton and Ron kind of hanging out and doing their own thing there. So as, you get glimpses of the characters kind of enjoying themselves at the carnival, we cut back to Alan, and, of course, he's talking to the Suki Kage. The Suki Kage. The Space Ninja problem is dealt with. It's time to deal with our little gnat problem. It's time to become the exterminator and tie up some loose ends. So yet again, the Suki Kage gets sent out to deal with Ron and Burton, or maybe even just specifically Ron. And what's interesting as well is that kind of Ron has a kind of a soft spot actually for, like, protecting his friends and stuff like that. He genuinely cares for someone who is cold and stoic, oftentimes as he does end up luring the Suki Kage later in the episode away from Burton so he can deal with them, not realizing that, Ron is actually protecting his friends. Ron also, I think, wanted to see if he could deal with, the Suki Kage on his own terms. What I find interesting here is after that little gnat problem, you get a conversation between Burton and Ron about exactly, they talk about, like, their wrap up with the Space Ninja, dealing with the, how they probably would have found the factory if you didn't find it anyway or didn't insist on it. And then they kind of mention, the stuff of everything else going on. And Ron quotes Edison here as well, which is really funny. Obviously, that gets Burton's, Burton perked up a little bit like that. And Burton kind of is like, okay, Ron, you need to tell me more information than what you're actually doing. Because while I know you are the same Ron that I used to work with, why are you still kind of staying away from me, not telling me everything? And you would think Burton would realize this by now, especially considering how many times they've been attacked, or how many times Ron and Bereka and Jane have specifically been attacked. And Ron just replies to Burton, it's pretty much what you think it is. I've been backstabbed by that. And Burton doesn't realize this until later. So, I mean, Ron just with a cold response, it's more or less what you think.
出現するたびに強くなっていた。お前の行動がなくてもいずれは工場を突き止められていただろう。そうかな。私は決して失踪などしない。どんな失敗も新たな一歩となるからだ。お前の好きなエジソンもそう言ってなかったか？大体はお前の想像する通りだ。え？ある命令を受けて研究チームに加わった。お前やベレッカと友人になったように見せかけて。見せかけて？忍者ガムのデータを奪った。だが裏切られた。誰に？ポテト、ありがとな。
I feel like Burton should already know who betrayed him, right? Of course, then Ron runs into this old lady. Now, I already said, like, in my reaction that I already watched this episode one time, but I didn't really get to understand what they were fully saying, because while I do know a little bit of Japanese, it's not the greatest that I know. It's just kind of some basic stuff. And Ron runs into this old lady who wants to go to the, children's library. Now, obviously, Ron doesn't buy this for a second. We find out later that the reason Ron knew this was the Tsukikage, the Tsukikage is because, well, you don't smell like an old lady. Which I thought the explanation for that was absolutely hilarious. But we don't really get, too much of that scene later. Their action sequences, of course, later in the episode, as they usually, like, if the episode of the climax hits and they go forward from there. Eventually, we cut back to seeing some of the other side characters. Emma, Lucy, and Van kind of are, like, side characters this time. And Van's just been having too much fun at the carnival as Emma kind of wraps up her dance routine, kind of celebrating on their day off. And Lucy and Emma just go off. They go off to the hideout to hang out, and Van's kind of doing his own thing. But what I like here is now we're getting a cut back to Odeo. And they finally have reached the top of the cliff, which was shown, or finally reached the base of the cliff, which was shown so many episodes ago. Oh. That's cute. That's cute. The crater where the meteorite crashed. So it was that shot they showed a couple episodes ago from the top of the cliff. Say, hey, we're here. As they try and contact Master Genryusai, unfortunately they realize that the Shadow Ninja, or the reception's bad out there, that the Shadow Ninja are kind of jamming their own signal. They don't want anybody knowing what's going out there, because with the Space Ninja gone, which we know they're probably not going to be fully gone considering what is going to happen. If you guys are familiar with Story Mode Chapter 2, we're not fully into it yet. Unfortunately, with their signal jammed, obviously, Bereka, Kappe, and Jane, they're not able to kind of contact Genryusai, but that's where the hero of the episode, GORO, comes in. Good old GORO! They put a message on GORO's collar. Now, GORO is, of course, the best Ninja Cat and is able to get, sneak their way and even see the infrared lasers. And so GORO just kind of jumps through, and GORO, in this episode, acts as the informant. You get to see GORO open his eyes a couple times, which GORO, being the cat that he is with his eyes open, is absolutely hilarious to see in episodes like this. And unfortunately, while GORO is the hero of this episode, GORO ends up realizing that GORO is, well, he's a fat cat. And he, unfortunately, can't fit himself fully in a rock to get through. But GORO's also a smart ninja cat, and GORO does one of the most hilarious things ever, as you would expect from a ninja cartoon cat. GORO's really funny, and I just want to play this scene. The little scroll. Goro can see the lasers. Oh my god, the eyes. This is still funny to me. Goro's too fat. But Goro do be a ninja cat. So Goro can do something like this. That's so funny. Oh my god, the play on it's so funny. Goro gets to enjoy a nice needed hot spring. So yeah, eventually Goro gets to, you know, the informant of Genryusai's to deliver the information, as apparently one of Genryusai's other ninjas is out here in Odeo as well. So Goro manages to arrive and deliver the message, which we will receive at the end of the episode. Then we cut back to Ron and the Tsukikage.
俺を始末するんだろ。
またしても見抜かれたか。うまく騙せたと思ったが。
見置いた。お前からは
You don't sweat. That's the reason.
わからぬ。そこまで気づいておきながら、何故このようなところまでついてきた。
The dual swords from the Tsukikage. So obviously Ron and the Tsukikage have, you know, some differences between each other. And again, the reason Ron pulled the Tsukikage out here was so he didn't have to get in Burton's way, which is the most important thing. Now, what you notice in this fight is that Ron still lands on one of his ankles funny. If you guys remember way back, Ron actually injured one of his ankles and he kind of twisted it in a bad way. And we're shown here that the effects of that ankle injury have not fully recovered, as he lands on it again, and the Tsukikage is able to kind of knock Ron back to his knee. Now, Ron's defense mechanism isn't that bad. Like, his defensive reflexes aren't that bad, but unfortunately, Ron's weapon is going to get pinned to the ground by the Tsukikage here before Burton comes in to save the day, as Burton, we find, was actually tailing Ron and the Tsukikage because he had a bad feeling about it. I love how the rest of them get to chill, but this is like, it's like our main four that are being hunted and stuff. Oh, Ron's ankle's still hurt though. His ankle was hurt way back. It hasn't fully recovered yet.
Barton, なぜ来た?
エジソンは言った。大事なことは頭の中に作っている常識という理性をきれいさっぱり捨てること。言ってて。
答えになってない。
ただの胸騒ぎってことさ。
As they regroup and the Tsukikage temporarily retreats, the Tsukikage realizes the reason Ron brought him out here was so he could defend Burton. Now, what I like here is the interactions we get into this fight is we get some really solid motion shots. We get the Tsukikage coming, you know, he gets to kill two birds with one stone, essentially. And while the Tsukikage thinks, or while Ron thinks the Tsukikage's only after him, it's not the case. As the Tsukikage reappears and he goes, "You're not the only one we're after."
そうか。バートンを巻き込みたくなかった。だから誘いに乗ったのか。
狙いは俺だ。
Bold.
見えろ。
はあ？
ロン。残念ながら君だけではないのだ。仲良く死んでもらおう。
And now the Tsukikage straight up telling them, "We're gonna end you both here together," as Burton kind of gets knocked away. He's not much of a fighter, since Tsukikage seems to focus more on Ron, as the Tsukikage could probably overpower Burton at any time. Burton's still kind of learning to control, I guess, his hidden ninja ability, but Ron's got the training, so he's gonna be the harder one to take out. The repeat animation here is good. However, the Tsukikage, parts of the Tsukikage in this repeat animation scene, when they go and picture the Tsukikage up, his face kind of turns into an orb, and it's kind of noticeable because of how fast it's moving. You ever have one of those images where if you, like, it shakes really fast and then it becomes another image? Well, this is exactly what's kind of happening. His head is kind of off model, drawn, so it kind of looks like over time his head is just like a circle, which could be part of the reason, which could be just because of how fast the animation's moving and how it was drawn. But while this is going on, Burton is, of course, trying to sneak up on the Tsukikage, but the Tsukikage decides to throw a sword, nearly hits Burton in the head with it as well as he gets stuck in the wall. And obviously, the Tsukikage now reveals at this point in the fight, we can't have you holding back the director any longer. And now Burton is shocked at this because he's like, wait, the director? And now Ron realizes it. Burton realizes it. He realizes exactly what's going on. And the reason Ron crushed that can earlier is because he crushed the can at Alan's image because he already knew that, you know, he encountered Alan so long ago. And Alan's kind of like behind it all. But this is news to Burton. And this kind of shocks him entirely as the Tsukikage pulls out the boomerangs that we actually saw in the Orange Sea Terror. Ends up nicking Burton a little bit, kind of cutting his arm up a little bit. Obviously, they can't show blood. It is kind of a younger audience anime, so they can't really show blood. But either way, that kind of knocks Burton down to the ground a little bit. It's like they can't show how bad the injury is, but his arm gets hit pretty good for Burton to kind of like take a quick knee. Ron comes to defend him and now we get some of what I really like about this. We get the flashback sequences to the moments that Bureka and Burton were attacked by the members of Oniwan Banshu. And now Burton's starting to realize, oh my god, this was Alan's work the whole time, someone I was supposed to trust. And he doesn't realize it now. And the Tsukikage, obviously, he's getting sick of this. You know, he's getting sick of this point at this fight. And he goes, it's a pity that we're going to lose such a good member of the Oniwan Banshu and a brilliant scientist. But unfortunately, our plans kind of need you gone for us to, you know, continue our work. Simple. This is repeat frame animation, which is very common in limited anime. Chris's face there actually kind of shrinks into a circle, which I didn't notice. I noticed that more on my second playthrough. Also, yeet that sword throw. Now he's starting to realize that Alan's the one. And obviously, they can't show blood for this, so... Whoa! But, unfortunately for the Tsukikage, well, Tsukikage is going to get Tenchi Muyo'd. And I honestly really like the way they animated this Tenchi Muyo as Burton uses, you know, he starts shooting gum shots at, well, not full-size gum shots, but he starts shooting gum at the Tsukikage, kind of to distract him a little bit, and is able to knock the weapon out of the Tsukikage's hand before Ron ends up hitting him with a Tenchi Muyo, which, by the way, first time we've seen it animated in the anime episode, and it just looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, it is gorgeous. I love the fact that they do, like, the actual effect that's in the Ninjala game, too. Like, you see that little aura kind of come around Ron as he pulls out the Tenchi Muyo, and it's, like, almost the same animation, really well drawn as well, as the Tsukikage unfortunately gets put in the Tenchi Muyo, and Ron says, round and round he goes. Where he stops, nobody knows, but I'm putting him 6 feet in the ground as Ron throws him straight down, and of course you get the Ippon sound effect, because why wouldn't you want it? This is a Ninjala anime after all. Let's make him drop his weapon. That's really cool to see that animated. I couldn't praise it enough the first time I saw it, but it's really cool to see Tenchi Muyo animated. So, with the Tsukikage defeated, obviously, you know, Ron and Burton have their chance, and at this point, Ron is realizing that, okay, well, I've saved Burton, and Burton saved me. and we've kind of helped each other enough. But with Burton saving me this time, I kind of owe him one now. And now I think this is where Ron, like, I feel like they've kind of been establishing this a little bit, but Ron, again, he's kind of more opening up now that, you know, Burton realizes that Alan is going to be at a problem. As Ron said earlier in the episode, that they're dealing with something that's, you know, extremely similar in terms of, you know, the problem they're dealing with. It literally is the exact same now. And they come to the realization that, yeah, we're going to have to put, you know, what we want to do, what our plans are aside, whether Ron has an ulterior motive. Because I'm sure he still has his own motive for wanting to get back now at Alan and the Only One Bashu. I don't think it's just revenge. I still think Ron has some other stuff. And even Burton says, I might not know what you're up to, but I'd still like to help. So Burton's kind of, his insight is kind of telling him that I don't think the Only One Bashu is the only thing that Ron wants to deal with. There's something else to it. Now, what that is, we don't know. Ron could be working for another organization for all we know. But either way, it's a really nice wrap-up. And the Tsukikage, for now, is defeated as we cut back to Alan. And we learn that the Tsukikage has been defeated. However, Alan has informants everywhere. And he learns that the Shadow Ninjas are now, you know, they've been spotted in Odeo. And there's a big organization of them. So now Alan decides we have to make a Shadow Ninja Extermination Squad. Much like the Space Ninja Extermination Squad, they're now forming one to deal with the Shadow Ninja. Now, if you guys remember, the Shadow Ninja are exiled members of the WNA, so they already have a bone to pick with the WNA, and not just the Only One Bashu as well. The Only One Bashu is a subdivision inside the WNA itself. So, I think things could heat up here really intensely between everybody when they go to Odeo and the Shadow Ninja and the Only One Bashu. Because as all their characters regroup at the end of the episode, at least all the ones that were, you know, present, not in currently in Odeo, Genryusai gathers everybody up and tells them that, hey, they've reached their objective, and I think for the rest of them, they decide, yeah, okay, they reached their objective, but they already know that the Shadow Ninja are going to be a tougher threat. I don't think they can do it alone. So all of them, all the rest of our characters decide we're going to Odeo, and we are going to help them. Rekka and them need our help.
俺は友人を助けに行く
The confident glance.
そう言うと思っておった。お主らにわしから任務を与え、お江戸に行ってベレッカたちを手助けし、必ず8人全員無事で戻ってくること。これが任務じゃ。はい。お前は留守番じゃ。
What I really like here is the last cutback to the end of this episode, because at the end of this episode we get a very solid cutback to our main feud in Odeo with Parekka and Genunsai. And we see something that we've never seen before, not even in Story Mode Chapter 2, not even in the Ninjala anime, but we end off the episode on seeing an entire underground city built around this meteor crater in Odeo. Probably the main base of the Shadow Ninja headquarters. Almost feels like an underworld. It's something we've never seen before, and it's really nice to see here, because now they can do kind of what they want with this episode. We're kind of at the point where, while the events of Story Mode Chapter 2 haven't been, like, fully told out yet, they've been building up to the events of Story Mode Chapter 2, but we're seeing something that we've never seen before. Not even in Story Mode Chapter 2, because granted they use Shinobi City in the actual Ninjala game for Story Mode Chapter 2 and the missions that apply here. But for the anime, they're doing something above and beyond. They're giving us an entirely new location, like this underworld, underground place in this meteorite crater, which is absolutely incredible. It was a really good episode, honestly, overall. And the next episode preview is a part 1, which I think is absolutely crazy. Alright, the important stuff now.
バート、お前には一つ借りができてしまったな。アレンとも決着をつけなくては。だがその前にやらなければならないことがある。次回忍者ら、お江戸忍者大作戦前編。
Operation Odeo Ninjas
無事でいろよ。
Part 1, I want to point out. Oh boy. Oh boy. I think things are gonna get nuts. things are gonna get nuts. Part 1, I guarantee you this arc, this Odeo arc is gonna be like 3 or 4 episodes. I don't think they'd have enough time to wrap it up in 2, especially considering the other team has to get there. Ron and Burton have to wrap things up with Alan, though, while the rest of them have to deal with the Shadow Ninja. I wonder if everybody's gonna have to, like, unlock their true powers through the Ninja Gun. Because for all we know, Lucy and Emma are the only two who really fully have it unlocked, and obviously Ron's had training. This is nuts. Seeing part 1 happen and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see where they go with this, especially considering that some of the shots from the preview in the next episode look like they're going to be absolutely crazy. So I cannot wait to see what they do with it. I'm not going to spoil myself on this episode. I'm not going to watch it early. I'd like to do this one live during the week, considering I'm going to be off the rest of this week. I'm excited to see what it brings to the table, and it's going to be different. It's going to be interesting. But I'd like to know what you guys thought of this episode, of course, down in the comment section below here on the channel. Let me know what your favorite part of the episode was. For me, personally, it's seeing that the next episode is a part 1, and I really like the final realization that Burton's like, okay, Alan's the one behind this. Now everybody is on the same page, so I like that realization there. That was my favorite part of the episode. But unfortunately, that is all the time I have today for this video. As you can tell, I probably still need to get some rest. Not quite 100% yet, but I do have some other stuff to do as well today. So I want to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, hit that like button, as well as hitting that subscribe button for more amazing content like this. I got some really cool content coming down the pipeline, actually, within maybe a day or 2 from this video going live. I got a really nice stream coming Thursday. If you guys want to go watch me over on Twitch this Thursday, I'll be playing Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak all day over on my Twitch channel, so feel free to check that out Thursday. I'll probably go live at 9 or 10 in the morning for that. It's going to be fun. We're going to play through the entirety of Sunbreak. But of course, I have more videos coming after that. And more videos coming after that. And you guys, I hope, are looking forward to all this amazing content coming down on the channel. But of course, until then, this is CIJ Man 777 signing off. Stay safe, everybody.